Hey everyone, Jim with the G here. As you can see, coming to you with different content this time. So I know you guys are loving my troubleshooting videos. At least I hope you are. But I had an opportunity and decided, well, we're going to take it on and then we're going to document it all. As you can see, have a late 40s, early 50s Chevy truck that buddy of mine's dad was restoring, and hot rod shop he had it at wasn't working right. Didn't want to do stuff with him, so he enlisted my help. And I said, you know what? Might as well. There's a lot of stuff to do on here, a lot of stuff that's in my wheelhouse, a few stuff that isn't. But only way to get better is to try things you never tried before. So, only problem with this truck is he wants it kind of ready for the summer and late spring, early summer. And it's still got to go to paint and body, where they got to tear it all down and redo everything and put everything back on. So, we don't have that long to do all this. We have to fix, replumb, and redo the air ride system. We have to confirm, tie in, and redo a lot of the electrical stuff. We have to make sure that the engine runs, because it's never ran before. Make sure the transmission shifts properly and does what it's supposed to do. Make sure that all the functions in the cab work, windows, locks, radio, lights, etc. Make sure electrically everything on the truck works properly. And like I said, and hopefully we can do all that. I don't see why we couldn't. So yeah, so come with me. I'm going to show you some of the stuff we're going to do for right now. So it's the first episode. So it's supposed to be a lot of showing and a lot of ideas, because there's some stuff we don't know what we're going to do yet. But you don't know till you try. So here's where we are trying. So let's get to it. All right. So like I was saying, the guy that had this before, he just took basically the sheet that the air ride kit comes on, mounted it to the frame, and he's got a whole bunch of, black lines zip tied everywhere, which isn't ideal. The battery isn't in an ideal place. We need to get it moved. That's not something he likes, that it's there. And then, like I said, you got fuel line, battery line zip tied going down, when this frame that he purchased is stainless steel lined for brakes and air. As you can see, the air ride right here, stainless steel, and it goes to the bag like it's supposed to. So there's no reason why we should have black air tubing running to the middle of the truck. So what we're going to do is we're probably going to leave the air tank there. That's yet to be determined. We're going to take the compressors, we're going to mount them probably right there, mount them remote, probably right next to each other too on top of that. We're going to take that solenoid valve, get it out from the elements, because it's right underneath, the axle and stuff. So we're going to get that valve out. We're going to mount it somewhere with a bottom cover so nothing can sling up and hit it and destroy the pressure sensors and all that, or catch a line. And yeah, that should free up a lot of space, make it look a lot nicer back here. We're going to redo some of the wiring, because as you see, zip ties aren't a way to hold a harness in, and there shouldn't be butt connectors on stuff that has to be made to be removed and unremoved. So we got to add some lights and do that. Let's go ahead and look at the cab. So, door lock, doors in there. This is for the windows, window regulators in there. I don't know if it works yet or not, but that's something we got to address and fix properly. We got to wire in the door locks, so basically so they know the doors open or shut. We have a new air ride kit controller. This is the old one. Well, that's the Bluetooth module, no worky. So we have the new one to adapt it to make everything work right, because that was not working at all. And this also getting level sensors so we can get it figured out and get it installed. We got a radio we got to put in. We got to make sure all the dash lights work. And let me get a flashlight so you guys can see in there. So we got wiring, and we got to clean all this up, make it look show ready like the rest of the truck. So yeah, so we got plenty to do, unfortunately. But yeah, like I said, we got pretty much a blank slate. The bed's not on it yet. He's going to do that here soon, and we're going to get there. So yeah, so let's start. Hardest part is trying to start finding a place to start. Where do we start? Where do we go? So we have a fob system he wants to have installed for the locks and door locks, so unlocks and locks with key fob. So we're going to have to wire that in. We also got an electronic parking brake, which we got to find a way to mount and log in, wire in. That's a kit, so that shouldn't be too bad. But keeping it all clean is going to be the hard part. We got to go and remount all the harness through the whole frame. Make sure it's good. Let me get my light here. Sorry, I want to put it back in my pocket. Special needs. All right, there's the engine, blueprint engine, hasn't ran yet. Everything looks like it's run right. Like I said, did a good job wiring all that up, hiding the wires there. We got to make sure that the AC heater works, all that, which it should be ready to go. Well, it said it was. And fuel pumps down there. So we shouldn't have too many issues. So yeah, so let's get going. Like I said, we're going to start with the air ride because it's the issue that brought me here first. And it's going to be the easiest thing to figure out and hardest thing to mount. So let's get going. So like I said, we're starting with the air ride. Luckily this bed is going to flip up. So all this will be accessible for the most part, but we don't need everything accessible. We just need certain things accessible. So what I'm probably going to do, I already took the pump off before I started recording, is we're going to take the pumps and we're probably going to mount them right there. And the reason for that, they're high off the elements. It's hidden, so nothing can hit it and you won't see it. You'll hear it, but you won't see it. And what we'll probably do is put both of them right next to each other, because I don't think we need one on each side. I think that's pretty dumb, but I'll leave that up to the owner of the car to decide. And we'll probably get away with that. And what we'll probably do is, which those lines have to run to the tank. So these lines, we're going to run steel all the way to the tank, which, like I said, will probably end up staying right here. And then the valve will put on that side. So it's also out of the way, and it's nicely mounted where you can access it and do whatever once the hood's up, once the trunk is up anyway. So yeah, so that'll be good. That's, we'll do a junction. So one line going in here and then one line going back out. So that's easy, less stuff behind the wheel, because like I said, the air tank's gonna stay right there. Less stuff that can get kicked up or maybe get hit, get wet. And then, like I said, run everything steel, nice over the frame, go through like it's supposed to. And yeah, that's one hurdle we can get. I think that'll be easy to get over. And like I said, if it looks like we do have enough room. Another thing, like I said, he wanted to remount the battery, so we got to figure that out. I don't know if the battery will remount right there. It may not, but if it does, that'll be cool too. But we may do something that's better to work on. We did talk about sliding the fuel tank over and then maybe putting the battery right there. That way they just pop the back and jump start it whenever they need to. But we'll leave that that'll probably be the last thing we tackle, because that's just making new wires up to the junction point in the front. So yeah, let's get going. All right. So we ended up having to drop the whole thing that guy put in there. Time to find out there was 4 fuses that no one's ever gonna get to, ever. So that wasn't too smart on his part. There was a lot of wires that had a lot of how do you say, a lot of strain in them. So I'm glad we took this down because I wouldn't have saw that. Otherwise, there's the old controller with an open plug. Should have at least a dummy in it, but whatever. So yeah, so we got a whole new harness for the new controller. So we're gonna go ahead and see that out. I have to try a few things over there because I don't think that's gonna work out like we think. Now the valve is small enough that it might be able to be mounted. I don't know. I'll get on there in a minute. But that battery was a pain in the ass to take out, and it's because it was in a box. So he's limited to whatever battery fits in this box, and that's not over. That shouldn't be the case because you should have a little bit more leeway with whatever you're looking for. So, all right. So I think for the tank and the pumps for right now, I'm gonna put the pumps right there. Obviously, we're gonna change out. This is all gonna be steel lines, and run that tank. So, like I said, it should clear the top. I think I gotta check that. Get a piece of 2x4 and make sure it does, but I'm pretty sure it does. And that'll make it so when people open the hood, open the back deck lid, they can see when I lift the floor up. They can see the air lines. They can see the night, see how nice it looks and stuff like that. So the valve on the other hand, valve probably be somewhere under the car. We're about to go underneath there now and see what we got there. So give me a second. All right, so there's the tank. Okay, see it? Yeah. So we're underneath the truck now. This is the right side of the truck. And I'm thinking we'll do something like this. Have to logistically put some lines or lay it flat as so. Like that. And, keep it out of the elements and make it easier to run the lines. Run them, well, you can see my shadow, but run them up across this bear and to the other side where the junction, which you guys can't see, but there's two. Hold on. This is horrible camera angles, really. Right here is where the line's tied in, and they're just going to straight fitting, so we could have really remake these lines properly and make them go to the valve and run them correctly, or we could just tie into them, either one. But I think right here would be good, just on the sole purpose that oh, my hurts. It keeps everything out of the way, it keeps everything nice and neat. And there's nothing over here, so there's something over here. Might as well, why don't we get something right here and put it there. So yeah, I think that's good. I guess, like I said, I gotta do the wood check to make sure that tank clears. If not, we may have to go a different route, but we'll see. All right, let's see if this will sit flush. It doesn't look like it. Yep. Back to the drawing board. Little side quest here. So how this, as you see, I'm getting rid of all the wiring and all the air lines that aren't needed, so we can get everything back right with steel line and stuff, and put a protective sheeting over the wire harness that goes to the back and mount it to the frame properly, so it looks like somebody did it correctly. We look here. Here's the harness. Here's the lines. They're running right in between the, I guess, the suspension tie-in rod right here, the top one. And the problem with that is, and it may not do anything immediately, but suspension is always going to be moving in this truck. It's going to be going down. It's going to be going, bouncing all the way while it's driving. This car is designed to lay on the frame when he airs it down. So if you think about that, it's a pinch point for one, and two, it's always going to be susceptible to rubbing. And eventually something's going to rub through. And I don't know about you, but if you're driving and all of a sudden your back airbag decides to let all the air out because the line rubbed through, that'd be a problem. So we're going to take that out of there, and like I said, we're going to run this correctly with the steel line and get everything right. And on this side, they did the same thing, but this side you have the positive battery cable, you have the main fuel line, and then the air line, all going through that pinch point. As you see, it already, you can't, maybe, it's already been rubbing on it. The last thing you want to do is rub the main battery cable and the fuel line together. Not ideal. So, like I said, we're going to get that right, and we're going to pull that out of there, and we're going to keep on trucking. All right, everyone. This is pretty much going to be our stopping point for today. As you see, we took the wiring, all the old air line out, all the battery cables, fuel line out, so we can take it out from those pinch points it was in. Found a new place for the air pumps. Right next to the fuel tank is probably where they're going to go because they're out of the way. There's nothing there, geologically speaking. So that'd be a perfect place, and it's really far away from the cab. So when they turn on, you won't hear it in there if you're riding with somebody, But the air tank itself, I think it's going to end up back over there, only because geologically and logistically it won't fit right there because of the bed. It just needs like half an inch more and it probably sit right, but I can't count on that. It's got to be a sure thing, so we're going to go ahead and try to probably mount it there. But see, it's more far over, so that will allow us to mount a bigger battery. So this battery that it had, on the side over there, it's not too big. It's a very specific battery. So we're going to give him space to put a better battery. He wants to go with a optimal battery, but if he doesn't have to, he can go anywhere and get a battery and not worry about it if he's in a bind fitting in there. So we got plenty of space. We can put a little box there if we wanted to, which we probably end up doing because we're going to have to make a mount for the tank to sit in. But, and those fittings are probably going to be facing, they can't face up because there's no drain on the bottom, so they're going to have to either face out like they were or face down, and one of those will become a drain, which is probably what I end up doing. But these outside ones are also going to end up being where the pumps pump into, and that's going to be steel braided line so it can flex. So since we have that ability now. So yeah, I think that's it. This is a good stopping point for today. I didn't do a lot, but I did. Also went through and did inventory first when I got here of what he had and didn't have. And that was most bulk of my day. So luckily I did that because I found out he had a parking brake, electric parking brake kit, and a key fob kit for the doors, and obviously looked at the radio. But yeah, we got all that. Laying this out, getting this running is going to be the main part, because after that everything can go back the way it needs to be. We got to go order some stainless line. We got to order some fittings, obviously the tool to make stainless line and put fittings on it. We got to get some wrap for the harness, some mounts for the harness so we can mount the harness nicely on the frame rail so it matches everything else. And I think that's it. Like I said, I think we get that stuff by the next time I come over here. If not, we'll start working in the cab and trying to get all that round. And well, I guess we might have to do the battery first. So we're gonna do the air first because the battery cable is over there, and without that, nothing's gonna work anyway. So we'll probably we'll play that by ear. We'll see how it goes. But thanks for watching, guys. Hope y'all like this kind of content. Like, comment, share, subscribe, of course. And tell your friends. Maybe they want to watch it. But appreciate you guys and look forward to the next video.